Lord, we thank you so much for this opportunity to come and hear your word, Lord, and just to worship you through these songs and this time of just prayer and meditation, Lord. I just pray that you would just reveal yourself to us, Lord, that we would truly desire to see you, Lord, and we know that if we have that desire to see you, Lord, that you will show yourself to us, and we thank you so much for this time, and we just give you all glory, and we thank you again for just the ability to just hear your word together. In your name we pray. Amen.
Song is Son of God.
Nails in his hands,
sprout, rivers of mercy endlessly flowing down. The Son of God, high and lifted up, the Father's love came pouring down for us. He has overcome. There is a place for all who would come. His arms are open, our sins are washed white in His blood. The lost and unworthy, come find your home. The broken and hurting, His love will never let go. The Son of God, high and lifted up, the Father's love came pouring down for us. He has overcome. The spotless Lamb, for every sinner slain, our victory, our hope beyond the grave. He has overcome. He has overcome. Now my song will ever be of my Savior's love for me. When at last I face I see with all the saints in glory. Now my song will ever be of my Savior's love for me. When at last His face I see with all the saints in glory. The Son of God, high and lifted up, the Father's love came pouring down for us. He has overcome. The spotless Lamb, for every sinner slain, our victory, our hope beyond the grave. He has overcome. He has overcome. He has overcome. And our last song is What a Beautiful Name. You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. Death could not hold you, the veil tore before you. You silenced the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring the praise of your glory, for you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is, what a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is, nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus.
God, I thank you for this time, and I thank you that you are so good to us. God, I thank you that we cannot stop singing about your love for us, God, because it is something that we can't understand, but that we can just adore. God, I just pray that we would give you respect and honor that you deserve, God. Even though we don't meet up to the standard you have for us, God, you still love us and you still accept us, God. I thank you that you are so high and you are so great. In Jesus' name, amen.
So it's great to know that as we were singing about the reign of Christ, and the reign of Christ, there is no war, there is no disease, there is no viruses, there is no death. And what a wonderful name is name of Jesus. And when the name of Jesus will be the name where everybody will worship and will where the kingdom of Jesus will be established and he will reign over the world, then peace will be there. Until then, we are living in a world that is filled with sin, filled with disease, filled with corruption, filled with injustice, and we have to suffer through all of this. And we have the hope that one day we're going to be with Jesus, where there will be no pain, no death, no crying, no tears, but we will be in peace as he will reign in justice and in purity. And as we continue our talk about David's reign over and establish his kingdom, for the first time in 2 Samuel chapter 2. We ended chapter 1 by this, the message from last week about Saul and the end of Saul's life, and the crying of David over Saul and over Jonathan. And the key word or the key verse that we meditate on it last week, how the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen. This question is still ringing in my ears and still shouting to everybody that is as a reminder that the mighty might fall. And if you stand, let us take heed so you don't fall, because nobody is above falling. The mighty, how the mighty have been fallen. And we meditate on that verse, and we ask the Lord to help us not to follow Saul's step as he fall. But today we are going to meditate on another question that David cry out again in 2 chapters later about another mighty man that has been also fallen. So if we go to 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 38. 2 Samuel chapter 3, I'm going just to give you the last part of the message, and then we'll go and start from the beginning. So don't get confused. I'm telling you the end so we can start. So that's my way of, when I learn something, I go and see what's the end, what's the conclusion. And then I'll go and start to, so I can get an idea about what I'm going to read or I'm not going to meditate. So anyway, so let us go to chapter 3, 2 Samuel chapter 3 and verse, let us go to verse 34. 31 or 34? 31. Okay. So anybody volunteer? We don't have audience, but we have people who are just recording our online message today. So no audience, but only people that they are participating in the online broadcasting tonight. So I wanted one of the broadcasting people to come and read for us 2 Samuel, and we're going to keep the social distance, of course. So 2 Samuel 3 and verse 31, or the worship team. So either way. Okay, Becky, I'm going to pick on somebody. So I'm sure that I'm going to pick on. Yes, come on. And please use your mic. Don't use somebody else. So that's why I pick one of the worship teams, so they can use their own stuff, personal stuff. Keep the distance. No, she's my household, so I can be close to her. There's no problem. Okay.
Okay. I need to get myself together. Okay. Then David said to Joab and to all the people who were with him, "Tear your clothes and put on a sackcloth and mourn before Abner." And King David followed the bier. They buried Abner at Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept.
So we are talking about Abner, right? So this is the story that we're going to meditate on, or the life of Abner. And the Abner is the command of Saul regime, or Saul army. So he is the command. He is the chief of command for the enemy, supposed to be the enemy to David. And it's amazing how David, when it comes to death, he is weeping over the enemy, over the people who have fought him for years. But at the end, he has the heart of Jesus, that he forgive, and he weeping over the same question that we're going to listen to it as a reminder of the mighty might fall. Go ahead.
And the king lamented for Abner, saying, "Should Abner die as a fool dies? Your hands were not bound, your feet were not fettered. As one falls before the wicked, you have fallen." And all the people wept again over him. Then all the people came to persuade David to eat bread while it was yet day. But David swore, saying, "God do so to me and more also, if I taste bread or anything else till the sun goes down." And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as everything that the king did pleased all the people. So all the people in all Israel understood that day that it had not been the king's will to put to death Abner, the son of Ner. The king said to his servants, "Do you not know that a prince and a great man has fallen this day in Israel?"
This is the question that I wanted you to pay attention to it. This is what David, then the king said to his servant.
Do you not know that a prince and
Do you not know that a prince and
a great man
has
has fallen?
fallen this day in Israel?
And I was gentle today, though anointed
And I'm
king.
weak today, or gentle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
You have another version of
Yeah.
mine.
Do you want me to read from?
That's
Okay.
no, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, and I was gentle today, though anointed king. These men, the sons of Zeruiah, and more severe than I. The Lord repay the evildoer according to his wickedness.
We are now talking about a new kingdom of David that has been waiting for years to establish. And finally, he established his kingdom for the first time. If we go back to 2 Samuel 2, after the death of Saul, the king, then David, go ahead, if we can, so we can go back to 2 Samuel and chapter 2. So we took the last part of chapter 3. Let us go to chapter 2 and start our message here today.
Verse 1.
Yes, please.
After this, David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah?"
And this is the first time that, first time that David started to, before doing anything, before deciding where to go, where to start asking the Lord. Do you remember about Ziklag? Do you remember that he didn't ask the counselor of God where to go when he decided to go? So he decided to go to Ziklag, stay there for about a year and a half, and ended very bad, right? So now David, he learned the lesson not to move, not to start making any plans without asking the Lord where to go, where I have to go, where can I start? And it's amazing that we learn from our mistakes and we learn how to start right with the Lord before it's too late, when things get worse, when things destroyed, when things get burned. We learn that God is the source of planning, the source for peace of us as he leads us in our journey. So he asked the Lord, right, where to go?
"Shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah?" And the Lord said to him, "Go up." David said, "To which shall I go up?"
Specifically, I wanted exactly where I go. I'm not going anywhere in any city. Yes, I can go anywhere, but I wanted to know exactly where shall I go. Okay.
And he said, "To Hebron."
Hebron is one of the cities that is has a lot of history in the Bible. Remember that Abraham, Hebron is a city that he buried his wife Sarah, and also is one of the cities that has a lot of meanings to Abraham and to his fathers.
So David went up there, and his 2 wives also, Ahinoam of Jezreel, and Abigail the widow of Nabal of Carmel. And David brought up his men who were with him, everyone with his household, and they lived in the towns of Hebron. And the men of Judah came, and they anointed David king over the house of Judah.
This is the first time that they announced the anoint king over the house of Judah. Remember, David has been already anointed as a king by whom?
Samuel.
By Samuel, right. By Samuel. This is many years ago, about maybe approximately, how many he stay? About 7 years. So maybe 10 years ago, he was anointed to be the king, but never been the king. He was in the road. He was running from place to place. He was suffering after the anointment to be a king. And God was working on him to establish him to be the right king. And through pain, through suffering, God was working on David to prepare him for that time, for that moment, for that day, to be anointed as, or announced to be the king. But remember that he was anointed to be the king over what? Over Judah only. Judah considered one of the tribes, right? Tribes, right. Only one. One out of what? Of 12. So there are still 11 tribes under what? Under somebody else. And we will know about that later. Go ahead.
When they told David, it was the men of Jabesh Gilead who buried Saul. He sent messengers to the men of Jabesh Gilead and said to them, "May you be blessed by the Lord, because you showed this loyalty to Saul your Lord and buried him. Now may the Lord show steadfast love and faithfulness to you, and I will do good to you because you have done this thing. Now therefore let your hands be strong. Be valiant, for Saul your Lord is dead, and the house of Judah has anointed me king over them."
It's amazing that David was rewarding the people who did something good for his enemy, Saul, that he was trying to kill him. But he just remembered the good things only. It seemed like he forgot about all the bad things happened to him in his life and just remembering the positive things. God, help us to learn to forgive and forget, and to have the positive attitude and rewarding even the people who were at one time were against me or against my plan or against, but now I am the king. Now they are my people. Now I have to do good to them. I have to reward them about the good thing they did in the past. Okay, go ahead. Verse 8 now? Okay.
But Abner, the son of Ner,
Here, first time we hear about Abner. Not the first time, because we hear about Abner before that. But this is the story that we're going to learn from it. This is the one that David told his people about it, that in chapter 3, do you not know that a prince and a great man has fallen this day in Israel? So who's the prince? Who's the great man that has fallen that day? That David were weeping about him, and he refused to eat or drink anything because of him. He was his enemy. Remember, we were going to learn about that. But let us know about Abner in this part here just a little bit, and then we'll go backward.
But Abner, the son of Ner, commander of Saul's army, took Ishbosheth,
Yeah.
Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim, right? And made him king over Gilead and the Asherites of Jezreel and Ephraim and Benjamin and all Israel. Ishbosheth, son of Saul, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and he reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David, and the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months.
So we can know now that David was anointed the king over just one area, one Judas, right? One of the 12 tribes. What about the 11 tribes was under the son of Saul? What's his name? Ishbosheth. Are you with me? Ishbosheth. Right? Okay. Ishbosheth. Okay. Ishbosheth is very, very, if you are, you have to like that. Okay. So Ishbosheth. I try many times to say it, but thank you for helping me. So he is the son of Saul. Remember the three the kids of Saul, they die with him, right? In the war just recently. And we don't know about the one that has been escaped from later. But anyway, Ishbosheth was the son of Saul. And the command of the Saul army, he encouraged the son of Saul to be the king over 11 tribes. Right, 11 tribes. So, majority. Was very strong man. He has so influence. He's very powerful, very strong, very powerful. And he looked for power. Remember, look for power. if we wanted to know a little bit about Abner from the beginning, first time that we know about Abner, where's my notes? Okay, so the first time we know about Abner, when actually, if we go to 1 Samuel, I think Vicky is going to help me about 1 Samuel, when David was in front of, chapter 17, verse 55.
Okay.
So he knows David very well. Actually, he was the one who was in the command, the chief of command of Saul army long time ago. When David was little kid, when was remember the story of the giant Goliath, right? And David was step up to and say, I'm going to fight that giant. And Abner was in command. He didn't do anything, actually. He was afraid of course, of the giant Goliath. He was, for 40 days and nights, he was just, every day, that man, the big man, was, okay, anybody can come and fight me. Where the chief of command? What's his name? Abner. Okay, let's read the verses 55.
As soon as Saul saw David go out against the Philistine, he said to Abner, the commander of the army, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, as your soul lives, O king, I do not know. And the king said, inquire whose son the boy is. And as soon as David returned from the striking down of the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul, with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said to him, whose son are you, young man? And David answered, I am the son of your servant Jesse the Bethlehemite.
So long time ago, Abner knows about David, knows that God with him. He was able to do the things that nobody could done it. He won the whole war by himself, by the help of the Lord. He was the one, the first hand with David, the first hand to see the head of that giant man carried by David. He's the one witness God's power in David as he was able to do that. So he saw it. He was there on that time. From that time. Later, he continued to be the chief of command of Saul's army for a long time. For all the time that David was running and Saul following David tried to kill him, who was there to kill David? The chief of command, right? Abner. Even he knew that David, he's the one God anointed him. But he's looking for, remember that he is the man looking for power, looking for position, looking where I can be in charge. And he continued to seek that part of security, to be the command, to be in charge. And that's how his start, and that's how he ends as well. And we can see how David deal with that, and how we learn from that as well, in very brief as we go through that. So we don't have time, but 1 Samuel 26 as well, we can hear about Abner, 1 Samuel 26. When David was actually, chapter 26, verse 5.
Then David rose and came to the place where Saul had encamped. And David saw the place where Saul lay, with Abner the son of Ner, the commander of his army, Saul lying within the encampment, while the army was encamped around him.
Continue.
Then David said to Ahimelech the Hittite, and to Joab's brother Abishai the son of Zeruiah, "Who will go down with me into the camp of Saul?" And Abishai said, "I will go down with you." So David and Abishai went to the army by night, and there lay Saul sleeping within the encampment with his spear struck in the ground at his head, and Abner and the army lay around him. And Abishai said to David, "God has given your enemy into your hand this day. Now please let me pin him to the earth with one stroke of this spear, and I will not strike him twice." But David said to Abishai, "Do not destroy him, for who can put out his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless?" And David,
So he was actually watching over the King Saul's life during the night when David and Abishai, infiltrate their camp and was about to kill Saul. But David refused to do so. Even he has the chance, the big chance of his life to have an end for the suffering, for his own suffering, as he was running from Saul from place to place. But he decided not to do so, because the timing is for God to end the life of Saul and the kingdom of Saul, not to David to do it. He was waiting for the Lord, for the time, God's timing. And he refused to follow his timing of finishing the suffering going through. Who was witnessing that incident? Abner, right? Abner was there. 2 Samuel, and then we go to 2 Samuel here and see what happened. Even after Saul died, he continued to looking for power, looking how to establish the army with Saul's son. At that point, he could actually make the decision, David is the king, I'm going to follow. But David has his own chief of command. And he doesn't want it to be under somebody else. He wanted to have his own power. And remember, David was in the midst of this, what we call chaos. Chaos, whatever, of people that each one wanted to have some power in the kingdom. People are trying to have their own agenda, not God's agenda, but their own desires to be in a position. So Abner, what happened to Abner? Verse 12.
Abner the son of Ner and the servants of Ishbosheth the son of Saul went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon, and Joab the son of Zeruiah and the servants of David went out and met them at the pool of Gibeon.
So we have here two armies, two heads. Let us see. Abner, he's the command of Saul's Ishbosheth's army. And we have Joab, who is the commander of David's army, right? We have two commands here. And guess what? Both of them, they are far away from God's way. Both of them, they have their own interest. And David, dealing with this situation, with this chaos, dealing with this what we call flesh actions, flesh desires of both of them. was there. And I'm just putting my head with David and say, what are you going to do with those? Each one, Joab, right? Joab, he never asked David for counseling, what to do. But he made the decision to go and fight and do all of that without taking the counsel from David. So what happened that, where did you,
Okay.
in verse 12, right?
Yeah, and then I did verse 13. Oh, and they sat down, the one on the side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool.
They actually start to play with each other, but in fight. It's very childish, no purpose in it, except killing each other, showing the power, who is powerful than the other one. It's a game. It's what we call the game of showing power. Who is more strong or more powerful? So what happened, Becky?
And Abner said to Joab, "Let the young men arise and compete before us." And Joab said, "Let them arise." And they arose and passed over by number, 12 for Benjamin and Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and 12 the servants of David. And each caught his opponent by the head and thrust his sword in his opponent's side. So they fell down together. Therefore that place was called Helkath Hazarim, which is at Gibeon. And the battle was very fierce that day, and Abner and the men of Israel were beaten before the servants of David.
So who won? Both of them, they was killed, 12 from each one. 24 they die. And then after that, they fight, and what's the purpose of that? They are brothers, sisters. They are the same, but they are fighting each other. Why? Because each one has the power. Who should be the head of the game? After that, something happened between Joab, right, and Abner, the head and the head. The head of David's command, chief command of army command, Joab, has two brothers, right? Okay, we can find it in verse 18. Go ahead.
And the three sons of Zeruiah were there: Joab, Abishai, and Asahel.
Right.
Asahel. Now Asahel was as swift of foot and Asahel was as swift of foot as a wild gazelle. And Asahel pursued Abner, and as he went, he turned neither to the right hand nor the left.
You see what happened? Asahel is the youngest of the three brothers. The oldest is Joab, the second is Abishai, and the third is Asahel, right? Asahel was so fast in running, right? Like Nathan. Yes, he can run so fast. So he used his, and his child, so he used his talent in running just to run over what? Abner. Just imagine with me. Abner has a lot of weapons, a lot of things, and he's the command of, and he has a child. He's running after him, has no weapon at all, and you try to just play with him. You know what I'm going to do with you? Go back here and get one side to another side. Okay, continue.
Then Abner looked behind him and said, "Is it you, Asahel?" And he answered, "It is I."
Are you Asahel? Yes, I am. Okay, go ahead. He's the enemy. Okay, go ahead.
Abner said to him, "Turn aside to your right hand or to your left, and seize one of the young men and take his spoil."
What's take a spoil means? Look at right, look at left, get some weapon, so you can fight me. I'm not going to kill you, and you have no weapon. It's a shame for me to kill somebody armless. Get an arm so we can fight. You know, that's what he said. You know, look in the right, find right. Okay, go ahead.
But Asahel would not turn aside from following him.
He's very, very stubborn, okay? He say, I'm not going to get there. Okay.
And Abner said again to Asahel, "Turn aside from following me. Why should I strike you to the ground? How then could I lift up my face to your brother Joab?"
He was actually thinking about it. You know, if I kill you, your brother is going to be so upset. You know, he's going to be looking for me again. So please get away from me.
But
why you are following me? And he's so fast. Each time he's just running after him, and he has no weapon. What do you want me from me? Okay, go ahead.
But he refused to turn aside. Therefore Abner struck him in the stomach with the butt of his spear. And then, so that the spear came out at his back, and he fell there and died where he was. And all who came to the place where Asahel had fallen and died stood still.
So sad story. So Asahel died in the place from the command of the army, Abner, because Abner couldn't control his anger. So he killed him. So what happened now? Now we have another war that David has nothing to do with all of that, you see? It's all because of bad decisions of the command with the people underneath David. David looking at his life here now, asking the Lord for direction. And there are people making bad decisions under him, trying to take power and try to fight each other, and for no reason. Why you kill that man? Why you go after him? Why you get together and kill each other? There is no reason for it. But that's how we are. As a human being, make decisions of fighting, of killing each other, of fighting for power, who is stronger, who can have control. God is look at us here, as David looked at them with really weeping over them, powerless, not making decision to punish any of those people. And we can see what's the end of it. Okay, go ahead. So,
24.
Verse 24.
But Joab and Abishai pursued Abner, and as the sun was going down, they came to the hill of Ammah, which lies before Giah on the way to the wilderness of Gibeon. And the people of Benjamin gathered themselves together behind Abner and became one group and took their stand on the top of the hill.
Remember, in any war, when you step on the top of the hill, you are in control, right? Remember, Shelley, when you went to the East Coast and the Civil War there, you know, and they showed us the field of the Civil War where there, who is in control? They were fighting for what? For the highest place, right? Who is in the top? If you are in the top, you can watch, you have control over anything underneath. And Abner and Benjamin, they took that position of control. So Abner, he shouted to, okay.
Then Abner called to Joab, "Shall the sword devour forever? Do you not know that the end will be bitter? How long will it be before you tell your people to turn from the pursuit of their brothers?"
Remember who would say, remember that he said brothers, right? You're not enemies. We are not enemies. We are brothers. And for how long we're going to do this childhood things of no reason for it? Because we kill each other, hate each other for no reason. Until when we do that? Go ahead.
And Joab said, as God lives, if you had not spoken, surely the men would not have given up the pursuit of their brothers until the morning. So Joab blew the trumpet, and all the men stopped and pursued Israel no more, nor did they fight any more.
Okay.
And Abner and his men went all that night through the Arabah. They crossed the Jordan, and marching the whole morning, they came to Mahanaim. Joab returned from the pursuit of Abner, and when he had gathered all the people together, they were missing from David's servants 19 men besides Asahel. But the servants of David had struck down Benjamin, 360 of Abner's son.
So more of the Benjamin than from David. David, he lost about 19 of all of this war, and the other side from Abner, they about 300, right? 360 men, they died from Abner group. But they ended. They say, okay, let us have peace. Let us not to, don't fight again, and let us be in peace. And at the end, after they killed 360 from Abner group, they went and buried their brother. Like, we are not going to bury our brother until we take what? Revenge from our brother. So they buried him, and Joab and they went to Hebron. All right, so let's go to chapter 3, fast here. Still, even they say there is no war, but still there is a lot of war between them. And that's the heart of people fighting. It's in the sinful heart of people. But the house of David was getting stronger, and the house of Saul, continue, I'm sorry. No.
There was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, and David grew stronger and stronger while the house of Saul became weaker and weaker.
So that's the end of the summary of what happened to the house of Saul and the house of David. Because God's actually chose David, and he was getting stronger. Even he had only one tribe. Okay, wake up. So only one tribe, but he getting stronger and stronger. And at the same time, David, he get lazy little bit, let me say, put that. Yeah, I'm not really making any accusation to David, or I can't. He has the heart of God and all of that, but he has weaknesses. So he start to relax, start to have a lot of wives, and just guess what? When you marry many women, problems comes, right? It's enough one, but he doesn't learn the lesson. So he wanted now more problems and more women with more kids and more problems, more complicated house in David. So let us see here what happened. He got something weird happened to him here. Okay, go ahead.
And sons were born to David at Hebron. His firstborn was Amnon.
And this is a big problem here. All of these problems. Okay, Amnon, we know. We will know later what happened to Amnon. Okay, go to the second one.
Of Ahinoam of Jezreel, and his second, Chileab of Abigail, the widow of Nabal of Carmel. And the third, Absalom.
Absalom, it's a big problem. He's the one with the long hair, the one that is trying to, get the kingdom from his father. Okay, go ahead.
The son of
I told you, woman comes with kids, kids, problems. If you don't follow God's way, you will get in trouble. You get trouble. So, I don't know if David really asked the Lord for counselor, where to go, where to marry. At that moment, I don't think so. I don't think he asked the Lord for any answer for what to do, but he just followed his heart for married or getting more women in his house. Okay, go ahead.
The daughter of Talmai, king of Jeshur. And the fourth, Adonijah.
Adonijah, oh my God, this is really big problem. This is each one of them is like, it's like
The son of Haggith, and the fifth, Shephatiah, the son of Abital.
I don't know about that. Okay, go ahead.
And the sixth, Ithream of Eglah, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron.
Oh, Hebron. Hebron with multiple marriage, multiple problems, these are going to, anything we do, little thing here, it seems like, oh, what's big deal? Just married, here and was allowed at that time, to have multiple wives, etc. But, if you are following your own desires, you are going to gain what you implant. And if you implant, if you What you said?
Reap what you sow.
Okay. All right. So yes, بالضبط كده. Thank you. Okay, verse 6. Continue. I'm not going to get into that. Maybe in family meeting we can talk about this part here, but not for you. Okay, verse 6.
While there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, Abner was making himself strong in the house of Saul. Now Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, and the daughter of Aiah.
Okay, so now we're going to start with another woman and another desire, uncontrolled desire of Abner. Okay, go ahead.
And Ishbosheth said to Abner, "Why have you gone into my father's concubine?" Then Abner was very angry over the words of Ishbosheth and said, "Am I a dog's head of Judah? To this day I keep showing steadfast love to the house of Saul your father, to his brothers and to his friends, and have not given you into the hand of David. And yet you charge me today with a fault concerning a
So
woman."
now he is actually going against Saul's son, Ishbosheth. Because he actually he went actually and have sex with one of the, his father's woman, occupiers, Surayat Abi. And then he doesn't want somebody to tell him not, people who in power think that they own everything, including women. That's like something like a furniture. They own it. They can do whatever with it. Power corrupts people. I'm not saying power in general. I mean, if you are seeking power, if the people seeking power and abuse the power to be used for their own desires, and that's exactly with Abner and what he did in this house of Saul. And he said, I did a lot of things for you, good things, I am the source of, for security for you. I'm the source, I'm the controlling you, I fight for you. I can do anything. So why you do that to me? Why are you talking to me? And he couldn't answer him at that point because he was afraid of him, Saul's son. So after that, Abner changed his position. He said, I'm going to go to David. I'm going to leave you and go to David. Well, you don't have any, what we call it, loyalty to the people you were with them. No, I am loyal to my power. I'm loyal to myself. Whatever is going to make me powerful, I'm going to go with that. I don't care who I belong to. That's not my priority. What about the Lord? What God? Where is God? Well, I don't know. I am looking for my own, seeking my own power. So he did actually that. He sent a messenger to David and say, you know, I can actually come and I'm going to give you all the 11 tribes back to you, so you will be the king of the 12, and you know, I'm going to make an oath with you. And so David told him, yes, we can do that, but give me Michal, my wife, Saul's daughter, that used to be his wife long time ago, when Saul promised him that if he killed the giant Goliath, he will give him his daughter as a price for killing the Philistine. So, but at the time, Saul took his, daughter. It was big, long story. But anyway, he continued to think about his old wife. Well, you have 5 or 6 here, in Hebrews. You already have a lot here. You still think about the one that long time ago, memory. But he say, well, I wanted to have it back. So he said, I'm going to bring it to you. So he went to, he sent a messenger to Saul's son, Ishbosheth, and he said, give me the Michal. So they took it from, she get married so they took her from her husband, and the poor man, he just, one day he's married, second day they took his wife. Well, he's the king, he took the wife, the Saul's son, what's his name? Ishbosheth. So Ishbosheth say, give the Michal. So the man was crying over her, going away. He was crying after her. And Abner, you see how is the power? He told him, go! You don't follow us, right? Verse 16. Go ahead.
But her husband went with her, weeping after all the way to Bahurim. Then Abner said to him, go return, and he returned. And Abner conferred with the elders of Israel, saying, for some time past you have been seeking David as king over you. Now then bring it about, for the Lord has promised David, saying, by the hand of my servant David I will save my people Israel from the land of the Philistines, and from the hand of all their enemies. Abner also spoke to Benjamin, and then Abner went to tell David at Hebron all that Israel and the whole house of Benjamin thought good to do.
Well, great things now. They are getting together. He's going to reign David over the 12 tribes. And Abner will be with him. Big victory, right? That's what we think. But underneath, there again, some struggle because of the power, right? Who's going to get mad of all of this situation? Who was not there? Somebody in power but was not present on that meeting. What's his name? Joab. Thank you. Finally, you are awake. Joab was not there. How did you know? Joab was far away. He came back and he heard all of that story. The Abner, the powerful man, the command of Saul's army is coming to be with David, with everybody there. And they're going to have a big celebration. As a matter of fact, David already made a big celebration for them. He welcomed them. And he can't break that covenant. So it's done deal. Man, done deal. Good luck. Who's going to be in charge now? Most probably who? Abner, right. So Joab came. Go ahead. Verse 22. Wake up. I saw you. I was so happy that you wake up. Now I'm sad. Okay, go ahead. Verse
Just
20.
then the servants of David arrived with Joab from a raid, bringing much spoil with them. But Abner was not with David at Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he had gone in peace. When Joab and all the army that was with him came, it was told Joab, Abner the son of Ner came to the king, and he has let him. That Abner the son of Ner came to the king and has let him go, and he has gone in peace. Then Joab went to the king and said, What have you done? Behold, Abner came to you. Why is it that you have sent him away so that he is gone? You know that Abner the son of Ner came to deceive you and to know your going out and your coming in, and to know all that you are doing.
So he was so mad. Actually, he told David. He went to the king and he said that, how did you do that? You know that he is looking for the power, he's deceiving you. You know that he was long way. Look at the history. Look at his history in the past. Look where he stands. How can you trust somebody like that to be in power? But he didn't ask him, what is going to be my position after that meeting? But he decided, he said the best thing to do, by his own decision. Remember, all of these decisions, David has nothing to do with all of these decisions. But he is still in control, still watching all of that happening, has no control over it, but it's happening. All of these things that is going on under him, under his eye, under his authority, has no control of it. Never ask for it, never give an order to be done, never answer anybody about this. Nobody ask him what they're going to do. But he suffered. David suffered from that. David was weeping over that. David was troubled with the troubled people around him. And I know that maybe you are in a position, we are living in a world that full of corruptions, filled with bad decisions happening that affecting you and me, and we live in that. What we're going to do in that position? Well, in that point, if I am David, if you are David, if you live in that scenario, what you're going to do? Okay, continue so we can see what happened to Joab. What happened at the end of the story, because time is going fast. Okay, go ahead. Verse 26.
When Joab came out from David's presence, he sent messengers after Abner, and they brought him back to the cistern of Sirah. But David did not know about it. And when Abner returned...
David did not know about it. Like David was not the king. He should be the first one to know. But they don't want to tell him.
And when Abner returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside into the midst of the gate, to speak with him privately. And there he struck him in the stomach so that he died, for the blood of Asahel his brother.
Under the umbrella, under the cover of taking revenge for his brother. But apparently it's not because of that. It's because of what? Because he doesn't want him to be in power. And sometimes we do a lot of bad things to other people under the umbrella of, he did that to me. But actually, underneath, you have another agenda why you do that to other people. God see all of that. And that's what David said at the end. There's a lot of things going on. God knows the heart, but we give excuses of what we are doing. But underneath, we are struggling with the problem is, I wanted to be in control. I wanted my position. I don't want to give up my power of being in control. And that's what the problem is. Okay. So David, he heard about it. And what did he say?
Afterward, when David heard of it, he said, I and my kingdom are forever guiltless before the Lord for the blood of Abner the son of Ner. May it fall upon the head of Joab and upon all his father's house. And may the house of Joab never be without one who has a discharge, or who is leprous, or who holds a spindle, or who falls by the sword, or who lacks bread. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, killed Abner because he had put their brother Asahel to death in the battle at Gibeon.
Okay, continue.
Then David said to Joab and all the people who were with him, tear your clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn before Abner. And King David followed the bier. They buried Abner at Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner. And all the people wept. And the king lamented.
And that's including who was there? Joab. It's like in Arabic you say يموت ويمشي في جنازته. يعني kill somebody and go in his funeral, you know. That's what he did. He killed him and he went in his funeral. It's just hard, stoned heart that David was dealing with. Go ahead.
And the king lamented for Abner, saying, should Abner die as a fool dies? Your hands were not bound, your feet were not fettered. As one falls before the wicked, you have fallen. And all the people wept again over him. Then all the people came to persuade David to eat bread while it was yet day. But David swore, saying, God do so to me and more also, if I taste bread or anything else till the sun goes down. And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as everything that the king did pleased all the people. So all the people in all Israel understood that day that it had not been the king's will to put to death Abner the son of Ner. And the king said to his servants, do you not know that a prince and a great man has fallen this day in Israel? And I was gentle today.
See what his feeling about the whole situation. Number one, that he was weeping over Abner. With the end of his dying on that spot of, he was looking for power, looking for position. And at the end, he lost everything because he was not a loyal person. He was not, he kills people and guess what? If you kill somebody, you will be killed. God is fair. God is justice. And what happened to Abner is from God allow it to happen, even it's really bad. But it's with the same way Abner killed Asahel, the same thing happened to him. He was killed. And it's just the rule of God all over, saying and shouting to all of us here who's listening to us, God is justice. What you're going to do, you are going to pay for it. Even if the time coming and it seems like you are running, what we call it, running you are guilty, but you are running with like you didn't do anything, you know? And a lot of people, they feel like they are the winner because they did something bad and nothing happened to them. Just learn from the lesson here. God has timing. Even if many years pass and nothing happened, but remember, at the end, God will take and you will pay for what you did in the past. Number two, David feeling? I feel for David because at that point he feels so weak from the corruption underneath him, from the corruption of the people. He say what? What did he say?
And I was gentle today, though anointed king.
He say, I'm weak or gentle or weak in Arabic or in other translation. And even I am the king, but I'm very weak because of the corruption that I am facing.
These men, the sons of Zeruiah, and more severe than I. The Lord repay the evildoer according to his wickedness. The Lord repay the evildoer
Repay the
according
evil.
to his wickedness.
Let us just put it underneath here. Let's conclude the whole story. If we wanted to get some lesson from, thank you, Becky. If we wanted to get just 2 lessons or 3 lessons for myself and for you guys, I just wanted to let you know that God is working, has a plan to put for David. God used all bad motivations seems like bad motivations, right? From Abner, from Joab, from all of these bad decisions happen. But God can use all of these bad decisions, use all of these bad motivations, and bring it to his plan to put David to the throne. Just want to tell you that all things can work together for the good, for the people who love the Lord. Don't be shaking. Don't be troubled. When you see corruption, remember God in control. And God can turn things around and use all of these bad decisions to do his will. You think about it and you are very sad about all of these stories. Remember, God used all motivations of the people to do his will. Think about the story of the cross. How bad motivation and bad decisions and corruptions happen in the cross when Jesus was commanded to or was sent to be crucified in the cross. No justice. How many people make bad decisions, bad motivations, wrong motivations, all of them. But God used all of this motivation to fulfill his plan. And he is in control at the end. He can use all bad motivation of people around you to turn it for your good. If you love the Lord, don't be afraid. Don't be shaking. The third thing, God's sovereignty use even all decisions we made, poor decisions we made, yet he can use it all to get us to what he wanted us to be. Don't think about bad decisions that you made for college, for anything that you made for job, even if you did bad decision, God can take all of these decisions and use it for his plan, put you in his plan. And he's in control. At the end, he is in control. Remember, God's ways always is the best way. The third thing I wanted to tell you, and I'm going to finish. Yes, God in control. But remember, we have responsibility. God's sovereignty doesn't mean you have no responsibility in working his plan. Don't be passive. Don't say, I'm just praying. Yes, God wanted you to pray, but God wanted you to make also positive decisions. Don't be passive. David was so passive and all of that happened. He didn't punish any of the wrong decisions here. And God was with him. And at the end, he said God will take his revenge of bad people. But he has responsibility to make in his home. When he entered many women to his house, he entered a lot of troubles. And he paid for it later. These decisions that we made, yes, God in control, but we have responsibility. And you have to do our own math and take our own decisions. I like the verse from Romans 8:28. I think I mentioned, but just wanted to repeat it again and read it with you before we end. Romans 8:28. Remember that verse? I think we all know it from our heart. But as the worship team comes here and end our meeting, I wanted to read it with you. Romans 8:28. And we know, in the midst of all of this, we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. There is a purpose, and we have been called for that purpose. And we know that all things work together for good, for whom he will also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son. And that's the purpose, that all things good, so we can be at the image of his Son, that he might help us, God, to really believe in your plans. And even if we had a lot of corruptions, a lot of things, bad things, even with coronavirus that is happening, we know God in control, and he can use all things for his purpose, for the good, for the people who love the Lord. God bless you guys, and sorry I took a lot of time here, but we can end with worship here. Thanks.
The last song we're going to be singing is Living Hope. It's a new song.
How great the chasm that lay between us. How high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into the night. And through the darkness, your loving kindness tore through the shadows of my soul. The work is finished. very body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Jesus, yours is the victory. Hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Jesus Christ, my living hope. God, you are my living hope.
Brad's going to end us in prayer. Go ahead, Brad.
Us this time to gather virtually together in order to learn more about you and to learn about the mistakes and triumphs of those written in your word, and help us, Lord, to check with you before making decisions and not to choose what to do based on our own ideas or our own agenda. For we saw in this meeting how horribly those choices tend to end. Please remind us of how much we are dependent on you, and let us not forget that. Lord, in your name, amen.
Amen.